Okay guys, in this lesson we will cache the simulation on the disk. So before I start caching the simulation, I will select the ground plane, and as you see here we have the third layer is under the ground. So I will select the ground plane and I will select the move object, and I will go to front view by holding space on the keyboard and B to show the 4 views in Houdini. So I will place the mouse in the right view and then again holding a space and B on the keyboard to go inside the right view. So now I will move the ground somewhere near to the third layer. You can of course move the collision objects to the up, but I prefer to move the ground. Okay, so now I will hold again space and B on the keyboard to show the 4 views, and again placing the mouse in the perspective view and again holding space and B on the keyboard to go inside the perspective view. So I will go to auto.network and hit L again. As you see here we have the ground plane and we have the box collisions. Okay, so I will select the flip fluid object and I will decrease the particle separation to 0.1. Okay, so now I will go to object level and I will go to particle fluid, and then in the import particle I will select the import particle and then I will go to save to file. So I need to specify the path. I will go and set a path for our fluids or to our particles in the Houdini projects. In the viscosity I will go to geo and then I will set a name, particles, okay, and here I will set $F and dot and BGEO, and you can set SC to compress the files. Okay, as you see here we have another particles cache, but that's not a problem. Houdini will replace that with these particles. So now I will hit accept. Okay, so now we have the time range from 1 to 500. That's okay. So I will save the file first and then I will click on save to disk in the background. Okay, so erase and replace. Okay, we will open the window. As I said, if you don't see this window, you can go to render and scheduler. You see now the simulation. So I will come back when the simulation is finished. Okay guys, let's see what we have now. So I will select the import particles and load from disk. Even the simulation is not finished, but we can see and load and see what we have. Okay, so now I will select the import particles and clicking on the load from disk. So now as you see we don't have a thick fluid, so we need to change some attributes. Okay, so I will select the simulation here and I will kill it. Okay, and clear. So now we don't have the simulation running in the background, so I will close this window. So I will go to object level and then we need to adjust some attributes in the emitters. So I will dive inside the first emitter and selecting the fluid source, which is create surface volume, and in the particles tab I will set the viscosity to 170. Okay, and the density I will set it to 5. Actually guys, I tried a lot these values until I figured out this value works fine for me. Okay, so I am not guessing these values. So I will go now to the second emitter, and for the fluid surface I will set the viscosity, I will leave it to 1. and for the density I will set it to 0.2. Okay, so now I will go to third emitter, and the viscosity I will set to 15 and the density to 0.05. Okay, so another thing we need to do is going to, because we set the density for the emitters, we need to check on and turn on the density in the flip solver. So selecting the flip solver, and in the volume motion tab and in the density tab, enable the density by attribute. Okay, so now I will go to object level, and then I will go to particle fluid. Again I will save the file, and then again I will save the disk to the background and erase and replace. Okay, so I will come back when the simulation is finished. Okay guys, the simulation finished 60% of the simulation is finished. So let's see what we have. As you see, we have a thick fluid, but the problem is that the simulation activation is 0 at frame 200. If I go and show the layers of the static layers, as you see, the simulation is not covering the whole area, so it's finished here. So what I can do, I will increase the timing of the activation. So I will kill the simulation, and then I will go to the first frame, and then I will go to first emitter. I will go to Autodoc network, and in the first emitter source volume, as you see, this is the first. I will shift and middle mouse click to open the animation editor. So as you see here, we have the activation. The activation stops at frame 200. So I will set it to 300, and this one to 299. Okay, so we increased the timing 100. Okay, so now I will go again to the particle fluid and save it. And again guys, I will save to disk in the background. Okay, so now the simulation will run in the background. So in the next lesson I will show you the completed simulation.